How do you find your one thing? That one thing that you can go deep in, give yourself wholeheartedly and committedly to, and experience greater freedom, greater meaning and fulfillment, and greater income. This is the subject of today's episode. Hello and welcome to the High Performance Consciousness Podcast. My name is Matthew Patty, and again, I will be your host for today's show. So we're going to talk about your one thing. This has come up a lot over the last 3 months in my conversations. And as I typically say, that with my friends, my colleagues, my clients, my muses, they are providing me with the intel and the topics for these podcasts. And this by far is one of the most common questions I hear that is brought up in conversation. How do I locate my one thing? How do I find and move on my one thing and move the needle on my meaning, the depth of meaning, the depth of fulfillment, and my income, my freedom? Well, in this episode, we're going to dive into that. So let's go ahead and consider what your one thing might be. Right now, you may be questioning the business that you're in, maybe the niche you're in. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're really happy with your niche, really happy with your business, really happy with your income. Maybe you're really happy in your relationship, your health, whatever it may be. But maybe there's a question there that says, could I slip into a greater alignment with my one thing? Could I go deeper into my one thing and explore a greater depth in what I know, what I share, and what I can help contribute to in the world? So the one thing, everyone has a one thing, and that is based on what you are passionate about. What you are passionate about. So let me give you 2 examples. Let's say business person A and business person B. Business person A loves all things spirituality, loves all things typically that is of energy, of manifesting, of this, that, and the other. They read about it, they research it, they share it, they watch interviews, they watch movies about it, read books about it. They even do podcasts about it. They write books about it. They have social circles about it. All their friends love talking about it. It's very clear that that's a passion point for them. Person B, business person B. Business person B picks up concepts and trends in the market and puts them in front of willing buyers, people that want the product or service based on that trend. Is their passion about setting up toy stores? Not necessarily. Is there passion about doing pop-up stores on baking and cooking? Not necessarily. Business person B, their passion is business, finding ideas and moving it into the market in creating an exchange, creating entertainment, creating value in someone's life based on the market's interest. Can you see there's 2 different scenarios here? Both are the same. Both are springboarding from a depth that is supported by their passion. Now, you'll hear in a lot of transformation circles and coaching circles that do what you're passionate about and the money will come. And that's like saying, if you wish hard enough, then the money will come. It's lost a lot of its meaning. But really, when you talk about the passion and the burning desire is what I refer to a lot. It's not an original idea. But what you burn for and what you are passionate about, you give yourself more completely to, more wholeheartedly towards. There is a greater frequency when you are leaning in and exploring and experiencing your passions. Would you agree? Then those areas that you think are and feel are mundane, superficial, maybe too generalist, a little bit boring, unfulfilling, and lack deep meaning for you. So go deep into your passion, and the passion is what lights you up. What do you find yourself talking most about, thinking most about, sharing most about, reading most about? There are clues. There's a golden thread in your passion. And there are books that have obviously been written about the one thing. It's obviously a book in itself. I can't remember the author's name, but it's a great book. Okay. Kotler, I think the surname is. So the one thing. So by going all in on your one thing, you will come up against initially the foibles of fear that will shake a little bit of your foundation. Lots of F's there. Fruit bowl, there's another one, just to be ridiculous. But you'll come up against the foibles of fear and will say, well, if I lean into it, then maybe no one else will be interested in it. If I lean into it, maybe there's no money in it. If I lean into it, then maybe I'll be ridiculed or judged. If I lean into it and give myself to it, then maybe my grandest dreams will not be fulfilled because 5 people will show up rather than 5,000. So all of these are natural consequences of staying stuck in the head, of being stuck in the head, stuck in logic, stuck in linear thinking. And you can go back to previous episodes, obviously talking about bending reality, about point A and point B, talking about living in the end and being here now. And what you are here now with is your highest intention. What you are here now with, experiencing and being, is the sum total of what you desire to experience at some point in the future, which are your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. That is where you are right now. What are you aligned with? So if you were to focus on your one thing and you were to lean in, maybe it's on podcasting, maybe it's on some specialist area of health, maybe it's on a very small, tight niche within the coaching industry or consulting industry. And you know that by the law of one to many and many to one, that where you have interest, there are others that have the same or similar interest. Where there is one, there is another 100 just like that. Just the same. And I've been saying that for years and years. And if you can get that concept where you can go from the one to the many and the many to the one, then it's the micro to the macro. Am I so egotistical and so condescending of my capability and my limitless potential that I believe that I am the only one on this planet that has an interest in this subject or this topic or this area of passion? It's ludicrous to believe that. That's my belief, but what's yours? So one to many and the many to the one. We expand out and we contract in. So as we expand out, we are expanding into a field that has more ones and zeros connected to our passion. So when you go deeper into your one thing, you give yourself to that one thing. You have the common dialogue, a common narrative, a common sharing point, a common inflection point, whatever it is you want to call it, in your marketing, in your message, in your mind. They're the 3 big M's. Your message, your marketing, and your mind. So consider this. You are successful in many areas of your life that are unrecognizable to the self that judges the self, to the part of you that judges the self. Let me say that again. Your success in other areas of your life is unrecognizable to the part of you that judges yourself for not being where you want to be. So that said more clearly, how can you lean in to your one thing more? Look at if you have a business right now, if you have a service. Are you a generalist? Because generalists are kept busy and they work hard. Specialists get rich. Generalists work hard, specialists get rich. Go deep into one thing. So recent examples and many case studies of this are some clients that have gone in on their one thing. One in particular on his podcast. I love podcasting. I circumvented. I traveled around the edges of it, skirted the edges, never really fully leaning into my one thing. Within a month, 10 new sign-ons for his podcasting course because it's his one thing. Someone else with their healing and their energy, they're leaning in to their energy healing, how to recognize energy distortions, energy dysfunction within my own being and within my own life, how to observe them, how to identify what the cause and the problems are, and how to fix them. Leaning in, doing her one thing. There's many, many examples like that. And so I encourage you is to sit for half an hour and ask yourself, even 15 minutes. What is my one thing? And you may have the babbler that kicks in, the mind that wants to chat and say, I'm not sure what it is. I'm good at so many different things. I've put my hand into so many different boiling pots. I've gotten burnt sometimes and I've won sometimes. They have all been experiments. But when you reduce it down to what do you feel the consistent, even, positive flow of information and excitement and enthusiasm for? What topics? What content? That gives you a clue of your one thing. Maybe it's about training the body. Maybe it's about nutrition. But go deeper into that one thing. Maybe it's about astrology. Another great example. Lean in to your one thing. And what happens when you do? And you've heard it before from other, metaphysical sort of circles and, law of attraction type circles, is when you lean in, the universe leans in. It has your back, so to speak. But from a science perspective, a quantum perspective, the moment you give attention to something and you go deeper into what I call the nano, you go from the macro down into the micro. When you lean into the nano, the deeper quanta within your one thing, you now are setting off a chain reaction of shared information with the field. So now your neurology is wiring to your one thing. Your physiology is wiring to your one thing. Your whole chemical being is wiring to your one thing. Surely the field now leans more into you, so to speak, and vibrates more strongly at your one thing. Therefore, what shows up are opportunities instead of obstacles. What shows up is confidence instead of challenge. What shows up is being able to see around corners and know that I am picking up these divine breadcrumbs along the way, and they are being provided for me because of the vibration that I am setting at my one thing. So I'm using a lot of language and a lot of sort of terminology here, but I want to make it really, really clear. Your one thing is your most important thing. Your one thing can change. Before a woman becomes a mother, she desired to become a mother potentially. That was her one thing, to become a mother. Now she is a mother with a child or two or three. She is now, her one thing is redefined. But this is the key. Would the mother have realized motherhood with her own children earlier, more easily, by feeling motherhood before the baby arrived? Instead of saying, I want to be a mum and I'm waiting to conceive and waiting to have a healthy pregnancy and waiting to go full term and waiting to hold my child in my arms, I am conceiving and receiving this new reality of motherhood the moment I step into the frequency and the thought and the belief of motherhood right now. So she becomes a mother the moment she leans into her one thing and visualizes it, experiences it, researches it, explores the true nature of motherhood right now rather than waiting for it. Does that make sense? So the same applies to success. The same applies to launching a program. The same applies to everything. Goes back to the A and B. Are you observing B from vantage point A? From where you are right now, are you saying, I want to experience this. I want to have this outcome. And therefore looking at your destination, your desired outcome as point B ahead of you, sometime in the future, yet to be realized, yet to be fulfilled, yet to be experienced. You will stay in a linear time frame. You will stay trapped in a linear process of moving one point along the scale with every thought, with every action. You can speed the process up by becoming what you desire in the now moment, hence bending reality. So define your B. What is your one thing? And by exploring B and experimenting B, then the field shifts and is reorganized and reshaped based on the language and information it is hearing and receiving from you. Does that make sense? So the field will reorganize itself. It may move from chaos, which is I don't know where my thoughts are going, I don't know how I'm feeling, or I'm not in control of my thoughts and my feelings, or I'm not in control of my destiny, or I'm not in control of my one thing because I'm dancing from pillar to post in the hope that I'm going to arrive where I'm meant to be by some outside influence or some outside sovereign power or force. No. You are experiencing a depth in your one thing by leaning in and experimenting. Make a post about something that really interests you and see what happens. Give yourself a 28-day window to experiment, then stretch it to another 28 days, and then another 28 days. And what you will find by leaning more deeply and focusing more deeply on your one thing is the reorganization of your field happens at a faster rate. And so if we are exchanging information, lots and lots and lots of information, at vast speeds with the field every single second, then surely if you are impregnating the field, impressing upon the field a more consistent dial tone based on your one thing, don't you think the strength and quality of that frequency and the strength and quality of that information is going to advance you and advance your reality and bring to you those opportunities and bring to you those introductions and bring to you those conversations and bring to you those flashpoints of success? I know it. I know it to be true. I've seen it, as I've said, seen it too many times to discount. So go to the depth, go to the nano. And I say this over and over and over again, tirelessly, because we all fall prey to doubt. We all fall prey to procrastination. We all fall prey to the idea that maybe it's not going to work out. So what? If you give yourself to your passions and you give yourself to the idea initially and the concept of fulfillment, you cannot fail if you give yourself to that. Just as a mother or a woman giving herself to the concept of motherhood cannot fail. She cannot fail. Okay? So I'll leave you with that to think about. What's your one thing? Evidence exists all around you and within you. Evidence of your one thing, your key points of passion, your depth is all around you. Listen to the conversations you're having with yourself. Listen to the conversations you're having with the field. Listen to the conversations you're having with other people. Maybe even your pet dog, cat, rabbit, or budgie. Whatever it is, listen to those conversations, because evidence of your passion existing right now and the potential and richness and limitless capabilities of your passion are right there, right before your eyes. They vibrate within an inch of your skin. Are you willing to open your eyes to see them? I'll leave you with that. So from me here to wherever you are in the world, wherever you are in the quantum realm, dream a better dream. And remember, it's all you, baby. See you in the field.